That's what we do, man's on the grind, that's what we do. Ain't gonna stop, evolving our game on a daily basis. Stay on the top of the game, experiment into the win. We ain't gonna lose, the grind don't stop. I don't need your boost, I'll see you at the top.
Alright, okay, so this week, very excited, welcome our first guest onto the podcast, the inspirational big man, Robbie Fruean. Robbie has an incredible story to share. He's a gifted athlete, incredible family man, had a huge impact on all the players at the Crusaders and other teams he's been a part of, especially the Pacific Island boys in the group. And he'll share us his story from going from the U19 World Cup winner and being named IRB World Player of the Year to having open heart surgery the next year. This is a very special chat. We're very excited to share it with you, so enjoy. Exclusive. This is Robbie's first podcast.
Yeah, Robbie's first podcast.
What a
He's
privilege.
here. Look, firstly, mate, thanks for coming on. It's a huge privilege, to have some time with you this evening. As most people tuning into this podcast, they'll know I'm a huge rugby nuffy, so it's pretty awesome to see you in front of me, in a safe environment. So thank goodness for that. Thank goodness for that. But it'd be the same for Daniel, no doubt as well. You won't remember this, but I actually first met you when I was a ball boy at Lancaster Park in 2010. And you always look forward to seeing the players after the game, and certain players were quite, once they're in the tunnel, it's quite a daunting sort of, they just straight in the sheds for a beer or whatever you're doing there. Never saw that part, thank goodness. But yeah, you're always one of the great ones, always signed autographs, gave some of the other boys a pair of your boots at one stage. So, mate, it was just awesome, to see that influence when I was, 13 years old. It was really cool. So, thank you for that. Anyway, I'll throw it back to Dan now.
Cool. So, yeah, Robbie's my neighbour. So, and it's pretty funny when we've probably lived here about 7 years now, I think. And when someone moves into the neighbourhood, you're all nosy, and like that house over there was probably empty for maybe like 2 months. And I saw this guy turn up in a truck, and I was like, oh, can I say g'day? So popped out, and then I was like, oh, hey man, it was raining, eh? You had jumpsuit on.
Stuff into the garage.
Yeah. So he turns up, and I was like, oh yeah, pulls off his thing, and oh shit, it's Robbie Fruean. I was so excited. And then the best part was he's by himself, and you had what did you have, like fridge, washing machine, chest freezer. Like most people need 2 or 3 people to move that. This guy's just moving it by himself. But yeah, awesome to have you on, mate. How you doing? What's been happening for you lately?
Man. Oh man, honestly, we've obviously come off the back of a big holiday, nice. Me and my family, and yeah, I was reflecting on it today actually with a friend at work, and it was actually a really good time as a holiday, and as a family we feel like we grew quite a bit. So we've just been riding off the back of that wave and enjoying that.
Nice.
And then obviously getting back into work, and then starting pre-season training for
cool.
Team that I'm coaching this
year.
You're
with Hillmorton boys still?
Hillmorton.
Nice.
But what we've done is we've actually put in a combined team.
Oh, nice.
So very similar to Sawan Combined.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
And I think there's another combined team.
Yeah.
I think North.
Yeah, I think there's a few schools that start doing that. It's a good idea.
Yeah, it was just more the fact that there was actually no rugby program within the west side of Christchurch, unless you went to St Thomas or came into schools in town and things like that. So we'll just try and see if we can go out there and reach out to any of the other ones that kind of never really get as noticed because of the fact that they don't take up those scholarships or they don't get those scholarships. So.
Are you part of that programming?
In terms of
planning and coaching, you're doing.
So I pretty much reached out to a couple of friends who are from church who are very heavily involved with Hillmorton, and then they were pretty much just like, oh, yeah, you might as well come on and be the rugby director. And I'm like, okay, I'll just try and stick to coaching, but we'll see how we go with that. So yeah, we're all kind of just trying to make sure that the program caters to all the other schools that we're combining with as well.
That'd be the hard
just so that there's a flow-on effect, and the juniors slowly start filtering through it, and eventually the schools hopefully will be able to build enough numbers that they can all go alone. And
fantastic.
And hopefully get rugby growing in the local community schools that very rarely get opportunities.
Implementing pathways, love that.
Yeah. So
awesome.
A group of men, a group of people over there that kind of started it, and I just was like, I'll reach out and help out, and where I could. So
cool,
fantastic.
I'm busy.
So done a little bit of research, which was quite fun. It's actually really interesting because I over the last 5 years we probably had a few good conversations at Letterbox, but heaps of stuff I didn't know, which was pretty cool. And luckily managed to get a hold of a few of the ex players, and they shared some stuff. So we'll go over that later. But just like on before your rugby stuff, so like know you're a proud Samoan man from Porirua, and talk about this a bit later as well, but promoting the Samoan culture and language, you've really pushed that. And I know you've got a YouTube channel on that. Big family man, a man of faith, and great singer and dancer here as well. So a question, what was your upbringing like, and were you that super talented big guy like from a young age, or?
Oh man, my upbringing was how do I put it? It was very strict in the sense that, man, my I guess one of the biggest lessons that I've walked away with when growing up was my dad never wanted me to drink alcohol. Yeah. But like old mate would just he'll be drinking a Woodstock, telling me not to drink. I'm like, okay. But so it was very strict, and till this day I hardly drink, or if anything I don't drink at all. So it was quite a strict Samoan upbringing. Grew up in a church, Samoan church. Everything was centered around church, centered around family, and the local community. So I never really stepped out of line too much. Just every now and then when I'd go away on trips with friends, and like regular school trips. Every now and then I'd try and get up to mischief, but I just never really was able to. So.
Did you play quite a lot of other sports?
I did. I played a lot of sports. Oh man, it was endless. In Porirua, like obviously similar to, I guess I always compare it to Aranui. Very limited in terms of the amount of kids at school. So everyone was playing any sport possible. So at one point I was playing rugby, touch, volley, basketball, tennis, badminton. This is for the one school.
All competitive.
Obviously, athletics.
Oh wow.
So obviously I got a lot of sponsorship.
That time off school as well.
What else was it? And then in the summer I'd be playing Samoan cricket.
Oh, nice.
So I played quite a bit of cricket, and I was just used to. It was more like baseball as opposed to test cricket.
High elbow.
Very high. Very high. Nice. There's always who could smack it the furthest wins. So pretty much, So I played a lot of sports when I was young, and that's why I've always been a big advocate for heaps of other young kids just to try and get out there, play as many sports as possible, because a lot of those skills kind of cross over naturally. The agility that you get from volley every now and then, obviously touch as well. I enjoyed it a lot.
So
it's a good time.
And what point did you take only rugby? Like, did you knock off those other sports?
It was pretty much my sixth form year, and I got called into trial for the New Zealand under-19s team. So I was only in my seventh form year, and that's kind of how everything started taking shape then, and then got called into the academy not long after that, Wellington Academy, and that's kind of it just took over. Not a lot of time to do anything else.
No.
So, but yeah, it was good.
Yeah, I think it makes a big difference playing extra sports.
100%.
We see it so badly with cricket. Like people stop the other sports early, get really bored.
Yeah.
And then they hate sport or they just get bored and they give up and they don't play anything.
Yeah, so a couple of the kids I've been coaching lately have just been asking for permission to play other sports.
Yeah.
I'm like, man,
Yeah, get into it.
I'm never going to hold you back from playing something that you enjoy, and as long as you're enjoying it,
100%.
that's all that matters. Once it starts to become mundane and you wake up in the morning dreading turning up to training, then that's when you want to rethink it. But
definitely.
Big fan of sports and enjoy playing it. I know. Certain sports I enjoy watching, but I do love playing sports and going hard as well.
Yeah, nice.
Awesome. We'll crack on. We'll continue on. So obviously called into the Wellington Rugby Academy. So teams you've played for: Wellington, Hurricanes, Canterbury, Crusaders, Chiefs, Hawke's Bay, Bath, Edinburgh, and the Barbarians. Can you tell us about all those teams, how they were different, what you loved in each environment? Obviously, there's a few there.
So I'll try and compare New Zealand to the UK, and very, very different in the sense that in New Zealand, one of the biggest things I took away was in New Zealand, when it's lunchtime break, a lot of guys are playing touch, and so rugby, kind of benefits off the back of that. In the UK, a lot of people play soccer. Yeah, 100%.
That's all they play.
So glad you called it soccer, by the way. So glad you called it soccer.
Oh, man.
That's what it is, soccer. You're dead right.
And so I think that's kind of, unless you specialise in rugby over there, like that's why a lot of them, you see that they're still working on some of the core basics.
Yeah.
And I mean, New Zealand do that as well, but like they're really working on it, like in terms of, like, some of them can't pass left to right. That I've seen, like, that are getting into academies. Whereas, you got sixth formers, fifth formers, they comfortably pass left to right in New Zealand. So, and it's just, like I said, simply off the back of lunchtime breaks and kids are playing touch versus kids are playing soccer over there. So that was the biggest difference between UK and New Zealand. I noticed it's very physical. In the UK, like, man, there's a lot of up the guts kind of stuff. But like watching them lately, I must admit they're very evasive and expensive now. Obviously Ireland's leading. Ireland and France are leading the forefront over there, changing the game up. But it was when I was over there, it was very very physical and confrontational. Fortunately, obviously, like, I had the backing of what I did here in New Zealand. Like,
don't mind a bit of content.
I don't mind it.
2 up, I'm happy with that.
But and then in New Zealand, comparisons of teams, I must admit, the team I enjoyed playing for the most was Hawke's Bay, and it was more the fact that it was a small town type feel. A lot of guys that obviously have aspirations to go and play super and that, but never quite make it. So the team pretty much start together, from January pretty much, and then you get the guys that are coming off the back of super, they get injected in there, and it just seems like a really good culture out there in Hawke's Bay, and I enjoyed it. That's what I enjoyed playing the most. Obviously, and that was more because of the off-field stuff that we were doing. Guys hang out with each other, go out and have barbecues together and all that kind of stuff, families together. And we did that down here, but like up there, it was consistent.
Is that because often a lot of players weren't centralised or like from Napier, or
I think it had a part to play, but like there was still quite a good chunk of Napier boys and Hastings boys. But I think it's just simply that there literally was no egos up there. At the time, we had the Chris Eatons, the Jason Schumachs, kind of holding the forefront. Yeah, exactly. And there was Matt Berquist. And so they kind of brought that feeling of like there was definitely no egos whatsoever, no matter who you are, whether you're in the All Blacks or not. Like everyone was kind of on level playing field, and everyone respected each other for it. So it was quite enjoyable playing up there. But yeah, in terms of the rugby itself, obviously I enjoyed playing in the Crusaders, and it was some special times. Obviously some big games.
Huge games, yeah.
So yeah.
Just on that, in the short stint at the Chiefs, what was different about the Crusaders and Chiefs environments?
Yeah, oh man, again, like at the time there wasn't a lot of difference because of the fact that they come off the back of back-to-back championships for Super, so it was very professional in terms of like just like their diligence in their trainings. Like they did a lot of physical trainings, man. And whereas Crusaders have always been attention to detail, just held each other accountable and called each other out, you know. And so when I got to the Chiefs, I think that's things like that started happening a bit more often. So yeah, again, they were very similar to Hawke's Bay in that they would always hang out quite a bit outside of trainings and never got bored of each other. So.
Awesome.
Was DG there when you were there? DG the mental skills coach?
Yeah. He was.
He must have been a hard, funny man.
Yeah, man. A bit of character.
Yeah, I've listened to him quite a bit recently. He's a good man.
Yeah, he obviously very knowledgeable in terms of the mental space.
He does it a bit different though. Does he do it like? Is he a bit more like? I don't know. I don't know him personally, but I've talked to him, but he seems to be just a bit like left field with his like the way he does it. It's not like
I remember one time. One piece of advice he gave me was like, because I used to drive to Te Awamutu, and that was like 45 minutes out of Hamilton, because that was my local club. And pretty much he was just like, obviously you got 45 minutes to get to training there and 45 minutes to get back. Just spend time, just appreciating what you've got and things like that. And so that was
like gratitude practice.
Yeah, and so that was and like just allowing yourself to actually prepare, because obviously I'd go to it for Thursday, and game would be on Saturday, and just encouraging me to try and mentally get into a good space heading into it, because a lot of the time for games, and if I started getting to a point where I try to get routine, and like. It just started becoming a bit forced, and so that's when I didn't play well. But when it was just natural, it was just a lot more enjoyable. So tried to encourage me to get into that process of actually backing all the stuff. Like I think very similar to what Quaid was saying. Just back the training that you have been doing, and everything else will take care of itself. So
fantastic. One more thing I want to ask. The Barbarians.
Oh yeah.
Is everything they say about the Barbarians true? Talk us through the week. What was it like?
Who was at the helm? Who was the coach then?
So my first time I played for them, it was Steve Hansen.
Oh wow.
And Graham Henry.
Oh, fantastic.
And this was after the Rugby World Cup.
Oh yeah.
They're like, everyone was like, you're gonna make it.
Oh, right. So that,
and then didn't make it, but then got called into Barbarians.
Yeah, right.
It's full on, man. Like, there's not a lot of sleep there. With the Barbarians, and I was like, wow, we're at war. Like, and this, I was like, 2011. How old was I? Oh yeah, I was still quite young. I was just wow, yeah. Like. Come game time, you think that I don't know whether I should say it. But there's not a lot of sleep.
They always, play hard, work hard though, isn't it?
They play a lot, really hard. So.
Yeah.
But Barbarians have always been a good time, and I think, one of the biggest memories was like someone was trying to pre-warn me that like, watch this. Like, you're gonna walk in, and as you're walking in, you're just gonna get handed an envelope.
That's true too.
And then I walked in, and then the guy just shakes my hand, gives me the envelope, and I'm like, whoa. So it's different. That's the other biggest difference in the UK, man. Like, there's money to burn. Yeah. Obviously, with private investors and things like that. Obviously, I got the chance to play for Bath, and some of the stories I've heard, like. I think it must be, his name must be Mr. Dyson or something. Well, he owns Dyson pretty much.
Right, yeah.
Just, like, I think he lived not too far away, but would chop her in. and then chop her to London. So I was like, Because there was a helicopter pad kind of almost in the middle of the field. Wow. And I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
And they're like, yeah, no, it's just for Mr. Dyson. It was, oh man, so yeah, there's a lot of money over there. And so when, like I said, when I went to Barbarians and first time walking into the conference room, I shook her hand and got an envelope of cash, and I was like, Christmas is coming.
Oh, that's so good.
That's crazy.
That's what I was going to ask. Is it just in an envelope? And it sure is. It's so good. All right, I'll throw it back to Dan.
So you take us back to 2007. I think that was right. You make the under-19 New Zealand team for the World Cup. Yep. Ireland?
Northern Ireland.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Okay, Northern Ireland. Yeah. I'll let you talk about it, but make that team and then win IRB Player of the Year. Must have been a pretty epic. For you, how old would you been then?
19.
Oh, you were 19.
Yeah, pretty much 2007. 2006 I trialed. And didn't make it because there was a group of us actually. It was myself, Israel Dag, Sean Maitland, Daniel Kirkpatrick, Trent Renata, who actually went on to make the team in the end because they got a run of injuries. But we were about sixth formers going on seventh. And we were trialing. And Ben Afiaki was another one. Yeah. And we were trialing the likes of Victor Vidas, Tim Bateman, and man, so it was like I'm from Porirua, man. I never heard of. This was the first time I've ever been to a New Zealand camp. In 2006. And as we were busing up to the trials, like everyone kept going, oh man, bro, just be careful. You're gonna be playing this guy, Tim Bateman. I'm like, okay. So I'm like, oh yeah, cool. And then my first run with him, first run against him, man, just ran the ball straight, and then obviously bumped him off, and then after the game, the boys were like, when we were busting back, the boys were like, bro, do you realise who you bumped off? I was like, nah, he was like, that was Tim Bateman. I was like, oh man. But then, oh man, so that was my first ever experience of it. And then 2007, we went and trialed again. But 2007, I didn't actually make the secondary schools team that year. Oh. And Richard Smith, I think you guys might know Richard Smith. I think he spends a bit of time with cricket. Oh. RJ Smith. Sure. He was at the time. He was the New Zealand under-19s coach. Yeah. And it was the Hurricanes regional team that I played for, and we played against Australian secondary schools. And then after the game, played quite well, and then RJ Smith comes up to me after the game and he was like, "Oh, don't worry about not making the secondary school team. It's us next year." And I'm like, "Okay." And then, oh man, obviously turned up to the trials for the New Zealand 19s, and funny enough, he was standing there as part of the coaching staff, and I was like, "Oh man, surely." So went on. Fortunate enough to make the team, and it was, man, I was surrounded by superstars, man. Again, like I said, Ben Afiaki, Ash Dixon, Sam Whitelock, Chris Smith, who was our captain, Luke Braid, Peter Saili, Nasi Manu. Oh man, these were all guys that had gone on to make the New Zealand secondary schools the year before. So I obviously my first time meeting him. Yeah, man. Obviously, a lot of them went on to do unreal things. We had an unreal backline as well at the time. Dan Kirkpatrick, obviously Ryan Crotty, myself, Zach Guilford, Sean, and then Israel Day fullback. So that was our backline. Decent. It was it was unreal. So.
And you beat South Africa in the final?
Yeah, played South Africa. I must admit, man. So obviously, again, exposed to the first time traveling the world, and then we see South Africa, and I'm like, are we playing the actual men's team?
Big boys.
They were massive,
man. Yeah, they were some big boys. But it was unreal tournament. Enjoyed it a lot. And I think one of my fondest memories was actually coming back home, and just seeing my dad tear up a bit because he never really acknowledges when he says a lot of stuff around congratulating me or saying good stuff. And I remember when I used to play at school, if I played a good game, I'd get a ride home. If I didn't, I was walking home. So a lot of times I'd walk home and my friends would walk with me, grab some fish and chips on the way. So coming home, and he teared up a bit at the airport, and then straight away went home and he just showed me the recording of the game, and he was like, "What's this?" And then this was the very first game. Like I said, it was the first time making a New Zealand team, and he was just stoked at the fact that commentators were like, "Oh, and watch this kid, number 13, Robbie Fruean." He's like, "How did they know about you?" I was like, "I don't know." So that was quite special. It meant a lot to him. To be acknowledged coming from a small town, Porua, and being on the world stage and commentators kind of saying your name and saying to watch out for you. So
your dad played for Samoa as well.
He did. He did, man. Like, oh man. Like, you have some of the uncles and the dads who kind of go, "Oh, my day off." That's the dad. Like, he never really says it too much. A lot of us, sorry, it was my phone. It's more my the guys that he used to play with. Like would come up to me. Sorry, I'll take this off. Would come up to me and sorry, boss. You're good. Would come up to me and tell me how good he used to be. And
is he centre as well?
Yeah, centre, second, and first. So obviously back in the day there was no set positions. But they always used to tell me. People always used to tell me stories about how he used to be a hitter. So whenever I couldn't hit on the field, my dad was like, "You heard the guys that talked about how good technique. Why haven't you got it?" So, oh man. But so he played. I think in 1973 or 1974, played against the Maldives team, and I think one of the names that always comes up about their game was Murray Mixed, I think. At the time.
Really?
Yeah. So oh man. It would have been cool to be able to see that. See him playing. Man.
There'd be no film, like you say.
Yeah, exactly. No film at all. But so he played a bit. So it was. I guess it was always in me at the time, but pushed me hard.
So just on your dad. Following that, you got IRB World Under-19 Player of the Year. It says here. You took your father to the IRB Rugby Awards in France.
Oh man!
Can you tell us some of that?
Oh man, that was funny. Obviously, in France, he can't speak English. I can't speak French, and struggle to speak English at the time as well. So both of us were just lost when we were over there. Right? But we got in. We saw a sign for my name, and obviously that's us. And got into the car, but I think there was strikes going on. I think bus drivers were striking at the time, and so there was traffic. We took ages to get into our hotel, and at the time the driver was starting to fall asleep. We're like, what's this? What's going on here? And then we get to the hotel, and then the reception's like, "All right, there'll be a car coming down to take you to your restaurant." And we're like, "What?" And then we get this taxi to this restaurant, and in the restaurant, we obviously didn't know where we were going, what we were doing, and so we somehow made our way back, walked back to the hotel, and it's just so random, but it was pretty special to be able to take my dad with me.
Do you remember who was nominated? Who the other guys nominated?
Yes, I do remember. It was I only remember one other guy, W.P. Peterson.
Oh yeah.
Oh, his younger brother.
Yeah.
Oh no, J.P. Peterson.
Yeah.
His younger brother got nominated.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Funny enough, he was the guy that I clotheslined and got sunburned in the final.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So in the final.
Oh wow.
He stepped me pretty good.
Yeah.
And my arm just went flying out. Caught him and
coat hanger. Oh dear.
I would have been red carded and game over.
Yeah. Nowadays,
but yeah, fortunately it was just they saw it was an accident, which it was.
Yeah.
And yeah, yellow card. I think, oh man, my first game, New Zealand apparently had a really good track record of no cards or anything. And in the first game I get a yellow card, I'm like, fuck, yeah. But yeah, so he was the other player that got nominated. I was there at the time. I was with DJ Forbes and Alex Piranesi. You guys?
He
got nominated for
Boys High. He played with cricket.
Man, at the time, and because obviously South Africa won the World Cup, and far out, it was crazy just seeing all the players there. Obviously, they obviously hadn't gone to sleep. Straight after the final. Oh yeah, we got a chance to get to the final.
Oh, wicked! Wow.
Oh, it was awesome, man. So we went and watched the final, and then after that went to the awards dinners. But yeah, man, it was pretty cool to be able to take my dad along to France. Nice. He'd only really been to Samoa and Australia before then, so it's cool to enjoy that with him.
Amazing.
It's awesome. On a slightly different note, 2008 comes around. You've obviously started your rugby career, your world's at your feet, and then a cold night at training changes your life. Can you talk us through it?
Yeah, so obviously being young, forgot a lot of my training gear at home. Rocked up to training, thought it would be fine. It was quite nice in Pororo at the time, and then coming into town it was raining and all that. It was quite heavily raining as well. Got sick because I only really wore singlet training, so it was like good times. Got sick, and then when I was sick, man, like I could barely walk. Joints were swelling up, and was getting a bit of a sore throat. So then the doctor called me in. He was like, "Oh, just come and do a checkup just to make sure that we get you on the right medication and that." And then went in, did my checkup, and then started listening to my heart, and then he was just like, "Oh," I was like, "Oh, all good though." He was like, we'll just I want to send you in for a more intensive scan, because he said obviously he could hear a slight murmur in my heart. And then went into the scan, and then they put a camera down my throat and everything, man. Like it's quite full on. And they pretty much, that's when they kind of figured, because they allowed me to rest for a couple of months, just to try and see if it was the swelling that was causing the murmur. But when it came, I guess it came came right again. The heart didn't want to, and so did their scan, and that's kind of when they found that the valve just wasn't closing properly, and so it was leaking blood back into the heart, I think. So obviously there's potential for it to kind of drown in a sense. So and then that's when they told me I have to go on the waiting list, get a surgery.
And was that surgery, that was where they used a pig valve or something?
Pig's valve.
Was that new at the time, or was that like just the way they always did it?
Yeah, I think that's the way it was common. So I was just because they said that generally when things like this happen, you put metal valves in, and then that's sorted for the rest of your life.
Right.
And so, but then off the back of a metal valve, you go on blood thinners. Because in the valve there's hinges in the middle. And obviously those hinges have a tendency to form blood clots around the hinge. So that's, and obviously blood clots, so if they get into your system, can cause strokes, can cause aneurysms. So pretty much, it was I thought that was the only other option. But then unfortunately the doctor was like, "Oh, there's obviously another type of valve that we can put in. It's not guaranteed that it'll last forever. But it means that you'll be able to continue playing rugby." So,
wow, crazy.
Obviously, giving myself at 19 years old, just want to play out the world. I was like, man, I need to be an All Black next year. Come on, man, get that up here. So, and obviously got told that I was going to have surgery, and then 6 months later, finally had the surgery, and the the recovery began, really, pretty much. I was trying to force everything at the time, trying to race,
get back.
Because I felt like I was racing against time. Which is, you know, on reflection, man, I should have just really enjoyed that time because it was I went from, you know, being sixth form to pretty much the next 2 years after that. I was just like consumed with a lot of rugby. And then winning World Cup Player of the Year, like so everything was just like, you know, shooting quite rapidly, and then, you know, you're having agents talking to me. And I was like, wow, never really. So it was quite. I should have just, like I said, on reflection, I should have just enjoyed the space I had to be able to just, you know, take the time to, you know, reset and just back that I had enough talent. I just needed to work hard. So but yeah, like I said, I was just rushing to try and get back, and I think off the back of that rushing, I guess that's probably, you know, 10 years later, kind of I had you know, abrupt end to my rugby career. But yeah, talk more about that later on. It's just obviously thinking about it since coming back. So yeah, man.
On a different note again, the Wolfpack, Island Boys, and Joe Moody, the White Wolf.
The White Wolf.
The White Wolf. Oh man, yeah, I better not say it. The White Wolf. Oh man. Good.
It's alright, mate, he's not listening.
No, I mean, like everyone else listening.
Good. Sweet.
That was a good time.
Yeah.
Back.
Who was involved in that?
It was Patrick Osborne, Nepo Laulala, Joe Moody, and then one of the other guys, myself, and then Paia Whanunu.
Yeah.
Couple of prospects.
I was gonna say.
They were quite,
Jordan was like, I'm pretty sure I was in, but Robbie doesn't reckon I'm in.
No, it wasn't me, man. It was everyone. It was unanimous. But nah, Jordy came in there. Talusa knew he wanted to be in there. Talusa knew he wanted to be in there, but just keep denying it. Yeah. And then a special mention of Sam Monahan.
Yes, mid Canterbury.
Yeah. He was the special wolf.
Oh, that's so good.
Yeah, it was a good crew, man. Real good crew.
Did you guys catch up? Well, obviously a lot of you are still away elsewhere now.
Yeah. A lot of them are still playing, and obviously the only other one that's not playing anymore is Patrick. Yeah. But yeah, we every chance we do get, where everyone's in Christchurch, we try and get together. Nice. But always have time for those guys. It's good times.
So we talked about your Samoan culture. It's a big, important part of your life, and you're very passionate about it, and spreading that to other Samoan people and obviously other New Zealanders, which is pretty cool. So for the listeners, Robbie's actually got a YouTube channel. He's only put out 12 videos, and he's got over 500,000 views. So what he's doing it right.
Honestly, it's my wife. It's pretty. I must admit, it's pretty. I played on the fact that if seeing someone else that obviously doesn't look like they're from your culture or anything, learning the language, embracing it is. I know people enjoy that a lot more. So that's why I tried to put the emphasis on her really learning the songs. And off the back of some of those songs, which I always knew would happen, like. She could comfortably use some of those words from the songs and things like that. And so my biggest learning from my biggest way I learned Samoan was obviously through music and obviously reading the Bible and Samoan. Like, I never really obviously understood a lot of the words, but the repetitiveness kind of allowed me to be able to learn more fluently. So. Yeah, man. So music, I enjoyed it, and she enjoys singing as well. So it's just a
good way to bond the family too.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, man, that was a good
time. So a follow up to that. So hopefully we might have a few coaches that are listening. If there was a non-Samoan coach with some Polynesian or Samoan or Pacific Island boys or girls in their team. is there any advice you give them to, help them embrace that culture or make them feel part of a team, or is there anything that you felt that helped you in any of your situations? That,
I know food, can be something that is a sign of respect to to other people, or like even to other cultures, Islanders. Islanders obviously centre a lot around faith, family, and honestly food, man. So every Sunday they have like what's it called? I guess like big lunches where after church everyone just comes together, all families come together. So if anything, like if you welcome, or even if you yourself, go over to Pacific Kids family, and provide a feast for everyone, and actually take the time to conversate and over food and things like that.
Yeah,
I think that would show, or that naturally shows a lot of respect to them, and then on the back of that, the parents kind of respect that you've come out of your way.
Cool.
You've wanted to bond over food, and you have good conversations over it, and I know that's a good way to start. And it's just about getting to the ground level of spending time with them. I know it's a lot to ask sometimes, but especially when even myself, I'm finding it's a young family, you still got that priority at home to be able to make sure that you're providing for them as well. But one evening, or one lunchtime, hanging out with a group of even if it's a group of the island boys, and just breaking bread together.
They might bring the family involved too,
100%. They're always trying to involve the families. When you gain the parents' respect, you tend to gain the respect of those players. And it's just being genuine with with the relationships with each of them. I know that probably had a big part to play in some of the coaches that I look up to and admire and respect. So
cool.
Man.
What was we had a couple of meals at yours and here.
Yeah.
What was that one that you had? That was Japanese?
Yeah. Shabu shabu.
Yeah. That was cool.
Again, Tabai Metsu.
Oh, that's right. Yes.
Got the wolf pack over. So man, there was one year where pretty much Tabai Metsu was like, he was like, all right, we got this guy coming over. Jordan Tafua, he's coming from Tasman to come back into Canterbury and play for us. This was like heading into like some of the big games too. And so that's kind of how Jordan kind of got initiated. He got us to have a meal with Tabai, and he put on this big spread, shabu shabu, and it was awesome, man. And there at that dinner, Tabai was like, all right. I was like, oh man, we should do this more often.
Yeah.
And it's like, all right, if you guys, every time you score that week.
Oh, that's right.
I'll
do
it.
Yeah, that's right.
And so somehow, every week after that, we scored. It got to one point where Jordan scored a try, and none of us scored.
Oh, yeah.
And they were like, and then Tabai asked, oh, does that count? I was like, yeah, Jordan.
He's in there, he's in. Get him in.
So yeah, we almost. I think his funds are running a bit low. But yeah, so and obviously Tabai had spent a bit of time in Japan.
Yeah.
And so he brought that back with him.
Nice. Yeah, that was cool.
And like I said, just that him taking the time to be able to invite us over and hang out, not with just one of us, but all of us.
Yeah.
We respected him a lot more and enjoyed his company and enjoyed him as a coach.
Yeah, get to know the player, get to know the person, not the player.
Yeah, exactly.
Because we can sometimes just spend too much time on rugby.
100%. 100%.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah, man.
That's awesome. Just carrying on, some of your career moments. I had a wee bit of time at Smoko break today. I got the YouTube up and just threw some highlights of you on there, and they are endless, mate. They are absolutely endless. You changed the game. You're dynamic, power centre, go forward, easy, too easy for you. Two moments I'd love to speak of, or Dan and I'd love to speak of. The first one, my friend Angus sent me a question. He said, what was it like sending Fruean into the stratosphere?
Oh man, I must admit, man, like that hit a lot of thoughts in my head. Like, well, there were the thoughts that were going into my head that time. I think I had Rene Ranger on one side, and then Rudy Wolf. Like I heard that guy was like benching 200.
He's a demon tackler.
Oh man,
Demon
and
tackler.
at the time, obviously, I was like, I knew of this guy, Rudy Wolf.
Yeah.
And so Rudy Wolf was on the other side, and Pretty Whipper was just covering at the back. And I was just like, alright, if I can sneak through here and try and get to that gap, I'll be able to get past Ranger and Rudy Wolf. And then Pretty Whipper just obviously pops up, and I'm like,
see you later.
Man. Just obviously just caught him at the right time.
Yeah. Probably not the best going high, was it? It was
not a good that's what I mean, like, because the front line was Rene Ranger and Rudy Wolf, and I just I changed the pace and just really went for that gap.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm not getting shoulder charged by Rudy Wolf, and I know Rene Ranger can hit. So I just went through that gap. And man. So,
but he copped it.
Bumping him, like pretty much hit the fact that I was like scared of running into these two guys. Man. So, and then after, because obviously I knew Pretty Whipper from Wellington.
Oh yeah, of course.
In my younger days, and after the game, man, like he wasn't there.
That's been snipped up.
Yeah.
We're boys, man, but you just nah, man.
Man.
The other one,
awesome.
The other one, you're at bottom of Iraq, and you're a few people lying all over you, and then Tawera Kibalo comes in. I think he must have. Did he ruck your chest?
Yeah, he rucked my chest.
And then people just went flying, and then here comes Robbie. Can you tell us about that one?
Oh man, funny. Obviously that year they went on to win, and then I went and played for them the following year.
Yeah.
And so man, I was just like, they just for some reason, man, they just kept being niggly.
The Chiefs were good for that.
That's coming at us.
Part of the strategy.
Niggle goats. Absolutely.
Like every now and then, like the boys wouldn't really react. And I think Andy Ellis caught one time, and he reacted. Yeah. But like a lot of other times, guys weren't really reacting. And that one time just set me off. I was just like, far out. Who does this guy think he is? Got up, and I was just like after me. But then the next kickoff. Yeah,
the Carter sorted that out for you, or was that planned?
No,
it looked planned.
I swear, because I timed it that once he caught it, I was gonna absolutely smoke him. But then he saw me coming and just jumped. And
so you wouldn't.
You can't really touch him in the air.
So you took him for a ride.
I just caught him over my shoulder, which I didn't intend to do. But guys thought I did it on purpose. But off the back of what happened. But then so I had a really bad impression of him, and then the next year I went over, and then me and Tawera caught up about it, and we cracked up. And he's actually really intelligent. Man. Like I had found out that I was witness. He just enjoys reading books. And,
he smashes them. I heard that someone else was talking about how he just reads books and just reads and reads.
But we just had to talk about it, and he was like, honestly, we just got told to be as niggly as possible against you guys. Yeah, and so obviously
I've heard the Crusaders talk about when that happens. I can't remember who's telling me this, but that you guys got trained to just like laugh at them or like smile, so that like it wouldn't work.
It was pretty much we just ignore it.
Yeah.
Obviously, they've done well now to combat it.
Yeah. That one. He picked the button, pushed the button. Well, I guess.
Real good. And because they were playing really good rugby.
Yeah.
It was difficult to break their line defensively.
Yeah.
And so I was just getting frustrated.
I think that's the only time I've seen you in that sort of like rage.
Seeing red.
But so and then like I said. Officially properly met him after the next year, and it was good. Awesome dude.
Nice.
But funny. But, oh man, going to the Chiefs, man, I learned a lot, man. Like,
so that was before you were at the Chiefs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this was the year before.
Oh wow.
And then the following year.
Oh, that's when you.
And that's when he told me about all the niggle that they got
The
encouraged to
plan.
try and do.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh yeah. and then bro, that's where I grew a lot defensively because Wayne Smith was the coach at the time.
Nice.
And man, that guy just he was like, mate, you do some awesome stuff.
Yeah.
But then there's some stuff that you do that we need to work on. So that when you're playing for us, no one can expose it. So he showed me some videos and helped me defensively, and man, got really comfortable in the defensive line. Yeah. Off the back of that, so
the professor.
Oh
yeah.
man,
I couldn't
just sees it different, eh? Sees it different. He obviously just spends a lot of time on analyzing the game. And, I don't know if you guys remember the game All Blacks played. So it was the first year they left him and Graham Henry, I think, or he might have stepped back from All Blacks coaching. And the All Blacks played a game and they got smoked. And then I think he rung up apparently, and then made a few adjustments to the defensive line. And then the next game they just...
Was that 09 when they got reappointed and it was South Africa and at the Cape Town?
I can't remember, man. I just know that it was maybe they got a I can't remember. I just know it was quite
I think I remember hearing about that.
It was a really big shift defensively, and it was off the back of apparently. From what I've heard, it was Wayne Smith that caught up and made some of those adjustments.
Wow.
But I don't know whether that was true or not, but
no, I've heard that as well.
Yeah, you'd believe it though.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
Like I said, when I went over there and he showed me some of these highlights, and I was like, oh yeah. And then at the time trained me, defensively, and at the time was helping out Anton Leonard-Brown as well. This was just a young kid straight out of school in the academy.
Yeah, well, he picked him up, didn't he? He was the...
Pretty much.
Yeah, right.
No one identified him here in Canterbury, and Wayne Smith identified him.
No one knew him.
Yep. Yeah. No, that's right. Heard that.
Actually, on the back of that, man, I think that's one of the biggest things that Canterbury and the Crusaders do very well, man. I remember Tabai telling me about how a lot of some of the stars that come out of secondary schools, obviously they'll have a go at trying to get them, but they, some of those stars kind of have their own teams that they got in mind that they want to play for, but then they specifically target the guys that don't make the teams, at secondary schools or under 19s, because they know that they're the ones that they know, like themselves, that they have to work hard.
They're driven workers.
And so so I think that has a big part to play in how Crusaders and Canterbury have just
people, not players, eh?
Dominated.
Yeah, absolutely.
Just dominated so much.
Back to there. There's one question I want to ask that's slightly off the cuff. This bloke Dan Carter. What was it like playing with him?
Wow, man, he was something else, man. Like, that's probably why I didn't have a kicking game. Because why would you need a kick when you're a Carter that does all the kicking for you? Yeah. And he takes it on himself to do that for the team, man. Just takes it as a responsibility that's his responsibility, and we just have to chase it. But man, he was different, man. You had guys that were so focused throughout the whole week on the game, and he was too. But he knew when to switch off and when to stay on, when to switch on. So he was just, he was cool, man. He made you feel like he wasn't. I mean, he always was gonna be Dan Carter to me, man. And just man, I've come out of Porua. I'm playing alongside the All Black 10, and he was just a special unit, man. And, always respect that guy for how he approached the game, and just how when he like you said, he partied hard, man. But then he would train just as hard, man. I remember one time, I think it might have been my first preseason, and I think or my second preseason, but he had a sabbatical. And then he came back and he did a bit of training with us during the preseason. And he was just like cha-hooing and getting the boys up and just making it look easy, man. And we're just slogging away. He was just a cool team, man. Everyone enjoyed his company, respected him, and man. Like I said, when it was game time, it just seemed like he took that responsibility upon himself to lead us through his actions, and the man.
Absolutely. Some career highlights, mate. Obviously, the Under-19 World Cup win, playing alongside Aaron Cruden, Elliot Dixon, Zach Guilford, Tom Taylor. IRB Under-19 World Player of the Year. Ranfurly Shield in 2014 with Hawke's Bay. ITM Cup Player of the Year in 2012. ITM Cup top try scorer in 2010, and winning the ITM Cup 2010, 2011 and 2012, the three-peat.
Oh, it was good.
Did we miss anything?
Pardon?
Did we miss anything?
Oh, no, that was heaps.
That's pretty good luck.
Just some things from me, because I just want to pick your brain about it, and that obviously Aaron Cruden.
Yeah, man.
Obviously the timing for him wasn't ideal, having probably the best player in a generation in his position. But what did he do for that Under-19 team that you were in?
Yeah, bro, he just because I think he must have played a bit of touch, and he just brought that natural flair. Like, I mean, Richie Mo'unga has taken it to the next level in terms of the conversion from touch to rugby. But yeah, he just because I think he was making the New Zealand secondary schools teams and Under-19s whilst he was still in school. Yeah. So he commanded that leadership role, and he just led us around the field quite nicely. And at the time, he was competing against the likes of Daniel Kirkpatrick and that, and so it was quite competitive. But he was only like sixth form.
Oh, was he?
Him and Zach Guilford made the 19th team. He was only sixth form. And
yeah, they both lit it up those years as well.
I think if Zach was old enough, he would have made the World Cup team in his seventh form year.
Oh.
But, like, that's how good he was when he was playing when we played in the Under-19s comp. Because he went on to make the Hawke's Bay ITM team the next year after that, and he's still in school. So I was like, Aaron Cruden, man, like I said, he had he led the team. He needed that responsibility because he thrived off it. And so that's why I think he never went as amazing as he did at the Hurricanes compared to the Chiefs. Because obviously he had all these All Blacks around him.
He didn't have that leadership role.
Didn't have the opportunity to lead.
That's right. When he went to the Chiefs, he was straight into that.
He was straight in. And
of course.
Man, look at what happened. Back-to-back championships. So, yeah, man. And obviously, you heard of the story of testicular at the time. And so I think that even matured him as well as a player and as a person. And yeah, man, he's quite clever when it comes to the game, man.
It's awesome.
Obviously, first fives in general are, but him. I think Tyler Blinder was another one that's quite switched on. And then obviously Dan Carter as well. It was just phenomenal players.
Wow.
Yeah, man.
Got some good company running the cutter, mate. Good company. The other thing I want to talk about, the log of wood, Ranfurly Shield, winning it with Hawke's Bay.
How good, man. I think we almost held it for the longest run. And that's what I mean. Like, it was just because we were just enjoying ourselves off the field as we were on the field. And I do think that the smaller towns appreciate the Ranfurly Shield a lot more, and so when you see the likes of Southland winning it, and then Hawke's Bay and then Taranaki, man, they just thrive off it. Like no matter how bad of a season they are, as long as they keep that, like honestly, man, that Ranfurly Shield, man, does some amazing things for you, like. You get free dinners. Shout out to Spates Ale House.
That's awesome.
Yeah, man. It's actually, and then because like I said, I never really knew a lot about Ranfurly Shield until I started playing myself, and just seeing some of the teams on there, man. Like some King Country, I think, and like so all these teams that will never really get the chance to see it ever again. Like if a second tier team did win it,
it'd be madness.
Yeah,
It'd be awesome.
Like
Oh,
New Zealand would have to wonder how they get it back.
well, you have to do a crossover each year.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
Like which they always do. But
Imagine it.
did you watch that game last year?
The Hawks where they smoked East Coast. Oh,
There was another one.
South Canterbury one.
Yeah.
They played South Canterbury and
Yeah.
South Canterbury
Almost won it.
Yeah, that's
did
right.
did okay for the first 60 minutes.
Yeah, they
and
blew
then
them out a bit at the end.
then blew them out. Yeah, that's right.
Like if they had South Canterbury,
I can imagine.
South Canterbury are like next level in that competition. They are.
are they?
They are next level. They are pretty close. They'd probably. I won't say they'd beat a Southland, but by crikey, they'd get close. Like seriously close. Yeah, they're a serious outfit. Just on your career, mate. Any personal highlights for yourself that you've found?
I think personal highlights. Obviously, playing alongside Sunnyville, it was quite special playing alongside him at the time, where he was kind of transitioning from, or not transitioning from league. He obviously spent a bit of time in France, but was transitioning into the New Zealand game, and so he was learning. I was still growing and learning, and so it just made a really nice blend. And we enjoyed playing alongside each other, and we worked well together. So that was some of my favorite rugby moments was playing alongside him. Obviously, man, he attracted defenders and put me in some really nice spaces.
Not a 12-13 combo I'd like to be up against. Got to take two to get him down, and then you just go pop to you.
And that's exactly it, man.
Who'd be a fullback, eh?
It didn't take long. It didn't take long for me to switch on that. This guy's
Just
gonna
follow
get the
him,
ball away. He's gonna get the ball away real easy
To be
too.
ready.
So that was probably one of the highlights. Playing alongside Sterling Morlock.
Oh wow, where'd you play with him?
At Barbarian.
Oh yes.
In 2007.
Oh, he's a legend, eh? He's clever.
Man, there was 2011, I think. Just because I idolized him growing up, just seeing him play, and he was the man. Just seemed so unorthodox, but it worked for him, and he did real well off the back of it. And then I think just having the chance to be able to travel, and see places that I probably thought I would never, or I never thought of ever seeing. And I keep going on about it, but coming from Pororoa at the time, like you never thought of that. Like you only just thought of Disneyland, Australia, going back to Samoa. But to be able to see, France, Spain, it's just it was awesome. So those were some good highlights. Being able to see the world at the time, and that's why I try and encourage so many kids that don't get too obviously. At the end of the day, the All Blacks can only pick 30 odd players. So if you're good enough to play elsewhere,
so many opportunities.
Use it and just take it because you never know. You could be like Nathan Hughes. Could barely make the ITM Auckland team. And then was getting paid £25,000 a game for England. So
there's heaps of guys that have done that stuff.
I'm not saying like to chase the money, but off the back of that, he's able to do so much more.
Set himself up.
I'm glad you said about Sunnyville because I was going to talk about him later. We've talked about this. I defend Sunnyville quite a bit because I just don't get why he gets so much hate. I know he had when he left the Bulldogs, obviously that was a bit of a mistake. The way that happened wasn't the best. And what was the other?
That the public know.
And there was one other thing I think. When the Kiwis, when he didn't put himself forward for the Kiwis, and then he came in late and took someone's spot. That's the only two real things I can remember that were sort of, he could have done a bit better there. But other than that,
everyone's just jealous of his talent. To be fair, aren't they?
100% it is. But I just don't get why they hate. It's hate. There was a thing about him the other day on just recently, just a post of him doing something, and it was a typical clickbait where they just write best 12 in the game ? And then everyone just jumps on it and it's not like he wasn't that good. It's like he was the worst. He couldn't do this. Jump, like code jumping loser. Like it's abuse, man. Like I don't get it. But anyway,
yeah.
What I just did you get any sort of that sort of tall poppy stuff in your career, or did you notice it was social media's bigger thing then?
It wasn't as big. So at the time, obviously, when things would be posted about us, and you saw a little bit of hate, like people would get shunned, frowned upon, because they're showing such negative, just something that's meant to be so positive. But yeah, so I never really got too much of it. Like I said, I was surrounded by. At one time, I think I was playing for the Crusaders, and I was one of two in the starting lineup that were in the All Black.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Everyone else was in the All Black, so there was more stories around me.
Yeah, and they're probably copying it more if you don't.
Yeah,
so
it's more like should have been. It was like, why isn't it?
So yeah, I never really got too much. I think like I said, I probably played my cards right in terms of how I spoke, how I interacted with the public. Just because I remember coming through the age groups and making the academy there, like it almost seemed like it was a bit of a negative to have all this attention on you. So guys would be walking into town like with hoodies on, and it's a nice day.
Trying to stay
just trying to like keep a low profile. And I was just like, actually, I just want to be able to be comfortable with my clothes first. But if someone wants to approach me because they want to say hi or something, I'm going to try and make the most of my effort to try to make them feel like they can approach me. So like I said, because of that, and I never really caught too much tall poppy. Just every now and then, whenever people favoured certain players over me. That's probably when, like you said, like the Sunny Bill would get these kind of comments about you can't do this, you can't do that. Why do you consider him?
It's definitely a jealousy thing, right?
Yeah,
he's making a lot of money. He's good looking. He's got all these things going for him.
And
sad.
At the time,
it's real sad.
Obviously, at the time, it was like to us, it just seemed like it was just jealousy and hate, but. It's just that nature about being this country where we can succeed, but only on our terms.
Yeah, that's right.
Like as a country, we can determine how successful one can be. How much they can boast about it, or how much they can succeed. So you never really could put a word on it. But obviously, tall poppy is the one that always comes to mind now. About, situations like the Sunny Bills, even some of the other players that are coming through now, and copying a bit. But it's just like I said. I wasn't really much of the limelight at the time. Because I was surrounded by players that had a lot more high profile, so I was able just to get by and just try and do my thing.
Nice. So we did a bit of digging. We managed to talk to a couple of ex-players and just find out a little bit what they thought, about playing with you and what you were like as a player and as man. It became very evident that what you did for other people and your leadership in terms of like the fun element, bringing the music, culture and stuff. So. Couple of examples. I have to read this because it's quite long actually. Big Mikey Alatoa didn't play with you. He said, unfortunately, I never had the chance to play with Rob. We were together in the Crusaders in 2016, but he had a few injury and medical setbacks that year, and then left to England at the end of the season. His YouTube highlight reels speak for himself. It was a shame I never got to witness it playing alongside him, but I did pick up on is that he's a big driver of the culture at the Crusaders at the time. He even wrote the team song that we sang after we won the match. And now guys like Rishi Moanga and others have continued to do the same thing year after year. I'm sure they picked up on that from Rob. As a Pacific Islander and a Samoan, he helped pave the way for all us younger Pacific Island boys, coming through and was a leader for us. He was someone who held was held in high regard in the Crusaders locker room and still hold the mana when he returns to the environment. Although I was only in the Crusaders with Rob in 2016, we grew a lot closer with him and his young family after he retired from rugby and returned to Christchurch. To finish playing that way must have been really hard, but even more so on his family with all his medical setbacks. There was no way of really knowing where his ceiling was in terms of playing and how far he could have got, which is both unfortunate but also scary. As hard as I know it would have been to stop playing, I got to see firsthand where his priorities are, and that's Jem and the kids. He's a man of God, a great husband, a father, and a great mentor. Jem and Rob are great friends of mine and my wife, and became like family until we left Christchurch. We spent many late nights there talking and getting their advice on a lot of things, both cultural and professional. He gave me the push to put my hand up to play for Mana Samoa, and I will forever be grateful for that. And I know that's something that he would have loved to have done himself, but it's a shame that the eligibility laws didn't change in time for you. I thought that was pretty cool, man. Yeah. Pretty nice. I remember we story when you left for a holiday, and I was like, "Oh, do you need anyone to look after the house?" He's like, "Oh no, I've got my mate looking after the place." And I was like, "Oh yeah, cool. Who's that?" And he's like, "Oh, one of my big Samoan mates." And I was like, "What? Bigger than you?" He's like, "Oh, yeah, a little bit." And then I just, "Oh yeah, Mikey's quite good for you."
Man, he's gigantic.
Yeah, he is. He would be one of the tallest props going around, wouldn't he?
I think White Crockett probably still top soon. I think Carl Heyman obviously.
Oh yeah, he was massive too.
Yeah, well, it was probably one of the tallest props.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it was pretty cool to be able to see. Like I say, like he's acknowledged that we never really spent the chance playing alongside each other in 2016, but it was cool to be able to see where he was then to what he became in terms of part of that. Oh man, 4 championships.
Yeah.
So he was part of that era, and it was pretty special to see.
Yeah.
And witness him grow as a player, and also obviously as a person. So
yeah, 100%.
It was pretty cool. Yeah, we became very good friends, and obviously you saw that. Had a video together.
Yeah.
He becoming a guitar player. Because I struggled practicing guitar. But yeah, it was cool.
Nice.
Oh, awesome, man.
We've got another one. Jordan Tafua.
Big man.
Rob Fruean is a great man and a great friend. Awesome dad and a great leader to us Pacifica boys, especially the ones that are and were coming through the rugby system in Christchurch. In my opinion, Robbie was the idol for all of us and a role model who took the first steps in making it big. The man you saw on the field, running through players, the speed he had built with the size and the tackles he used to dish out, would break most in half, was different to the one you get off the field. A humble man and with the utmost kind heart, always walking around with a smile on his face and always laughing and joking about it with the boys.
Awesome. Right. Too kind, boys. Too kind.
I think I got one from Izzy. This was kind of a bit off the cuff. It sounded like he was busy with his kids at the time. So this is not really like quoted, but he reckons you were rapid, but not as fast as him. But he said you had way better dance moves than him. He said you brought the life of the team, you brought great energy, you brought music and the humour to the team. He said he loved doing fitness sessions with you because your dodgy ticker made him look like he was way fitter than he was. He also said, he also asked what inspired some of your haircuts. I know my personal favourite was the Mr. T.
Yeah, second that.
And he also mentioned you're probably seriously good at lifting tin, and I know a few of our viewers wanted to know some numbers.
Oh man!
Can you remember any of your PBs?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, good.
Yes.
I held on to them.
Yes, boy.
I held on to them till Nemani Nadolo came.
Oh wow!
Yeah, he was huge.
Oh yeah.
So obviously myself and Nemani Nadolo it was very rarely we were allowed to be in the gym. it was either on the bike. The only time we were in the gym is if we were on the bike or you know, it would be outside running.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I do remember some of the numbers, and I enjoyed.
What was it?
Hit us with the
Give us a lift.
I think one of the biggest deadlifts I ever got was I think it might have been 220, 240.
Oh, nice.
So that was I enjoyed it.
Yeah. I think when I last went to the Crusaders thing, they had the records, and I'm pretty sure you had one of the speed row or something like that. Or something, one of the power ones, like a short, sharp.
No, it was just
the
the
bike?
power clean. I think it was just the power clean.
Power clean.
Actually, I did do the watt bike.
Watt bike, yeah.
However many,
like a super, like as fast as you can for like. Yeah.
So I was, man.
So I think you've got the back record for
I
that.
tried not to acknowledge it, but obviously I must have been a power athlete at the time.
Yeah.
No doubt.
Yeah, you went alright.
I think you're right.
But man, I really fell in love with lifting weights when I went to the Chiefs. Because man, they knew how to lift over there. I thought I was getting some big numbers down here. Yeah. When I went up there, man, I was watching Benton Fruean squat 260 comfortably. I was like, okay, we need to up our game, man. But they brought in an Olympic lifting coach.
Oh, really?
To help us with our Olympic lifting. Really enjoyed Olympic lifting.
Yeah.
Power clean, I did about a 140, which I love it. I enjoyed it. Yeah. Deadlift was about 240. Squat. I think I only managed to get 220. 220 out. But yeah, and then my bench press, man, it was just, man, compared to those numbers, you'd think it would be a big, but I was only like around a 140 bench press. Like on record.
Who was the best lifter in the Crusaders? Or who's the best lifter around?
I think obviously the French brothers. Because they just. I don't know.
Owen's not really that big, for he's a big boy, but for a prop, he's not huge.
I don't know how
power to weight, he must be.
Because I was like,
ridiculous.
Okay, they're lifting weights and they're fit, so I'm sure I could be fit off the back of lifting weights. Man, I don't know how they did it, but they were freaks, man. So the French brothers normally come to mind. And then later in my career, Joe Moody and Nepo Lala started pushing some big tin. Like those two, they were competing. Obviously, they were competing not against each other, but we're always in the same against each other in the scrum.
True.
And that's how they became real tight. And obviously, went on to make the All Blacks together. And so they used to push some big tin. And I just tried to keep up with them, but but yeah, man. Who else was there? Oh man. One guy that just it comfortably came to him, but just never did it was Patrick Osborne.
Oh yeah.
I remember we were reflecting on a story a couple of weeks ago, actually, how he woke up late and he lived across the road, just walked straight in. Like I swear he was wearing his pajamas or like the clothes that he slept in. Rocked up, came into the gym at the time, and then saw the trainer on the other side starting to make his way over.
Yeah.
He just walked over to the bar that was closer to him and just started deadlifting.
Yeah.
And I think Ryan Crotty was on his last set and he just was warming up. I was like, oh. But he never really trained it, so it would have been amazing to see where he would have gotten to. But yeah, man, Frank. Oh, no, obviously, when I went over to the Chiefs, they used to lift quite a big tin. Yeah. But then, even hearing some of the Blues boys, they used to lift weights. I think George Moala.
Yeah,
he was tank.
Far out.
Christian Cullen used to be outrageous for his size.
Yeah,
he was one of the strongest in the room, and he was like 90 kg, not even that. It's crazy.
There was another story I heard was a freak. Rene Ranger, obviously. Those boys up there, they must have quite a bit of time. But down here, it was only really the French brothers and later on the Moody and all those guys. But it wasn't really a big thing down here. Yeah. And you see the difference, I guess.
Yeah.
Man. I got another one from Adam Whitelock here too.
Big training buddy.
Zeus. Robbie was obviously a great player, big, strong, fast and skilled, a tough man to tackle, extremely gutsy, dealing with the heart setbacks. a great team person that used to be a bit of a tour guide on the team bus trips.
That's all you about.
He now enjoys training with me at F45.
What was the tour guide thing?
Oh, so part of the team culture stuff. Obviously, I was in kind of the entertainment group.
Oh, so you had like a role.
Yeah,
oh,
yes.
Okay,
And
cool.
in the entertainment group, I had to everywhere we went.
Yeah.
I had to be the tour guide and explain where we're going, what we've been up to, what's popular about this place.
Yeah, yeah.
So a few times, obviously, a lot of lies came out about where we were, and then, man, most enjoyable times I was in my element was when we were in Africa.
Oh yeah.
Obviously, play the African music.
Yeah.
Get to the hotel, get the speaker going, and all the workers at the hotel just be dancing, enjoying the same music. So. Yeah, it was a good time. But Adam Whitelock, man, that guy.
He's still pretty fit, eh?
Oh,
He's
man.
always out running. And...
He was the one that, I must admit, I struggled with the most because we were competing against each other.
Yeah.
But then when pre-season time rolls around, that guy was next level. But then not only was he freaking in fitness, he was also freaking the gym as well.
Was he?
And so pre-season time, I was just like, man, I have to bide my time. I'll try to compete.
Yeah.
He
farm strength, eh?
Oh, he just went to that next level.
Raw. Yeah.
One of the biggest things I tell people about how freak of a athlete he was.
Yeah.
110 kgs. We did a 2.4k test, and he ran 7 minutes 58. Man. Oh, that's. I think it was 7:50 or 7:48.
Yeah, that's fast.
That's moving. Oh, yeah. So he was.
We did that long run the other day.
Oh yeah.
And he was there. All the other Crusaders like, man, he's fitter than us. Still going.
I think he just for fun he did 100k.
Yeah, in lockdown.
Yeah.
Just ran and it just ran around Higley Park 70 times.
So yeah, man, that guy.
I didn't get that gene, unfortunately.
I always found him a hard case when we were in pre-season, but then man, always enjoyed him. We always enjoyed each other's company when we were the tour guides and that. So. He was awesome.
No, that's good stuff. Just want to talk quickly about your faith. Faith is obviously a big part for you and your family's life.
Yeah.
I actually believe it says here that you started the Crusaders prayer group. And is that still going? And Jack Goodhue's currently leading it?
Yeah, I recently got a message from him to join them last week, which I was like, actually, I'll go along, just see how it's going. And it was pretty cool to see that it's still going today.
When did you reckon you started that?
Well, I think it was actually at the time. I think it might have been 2015. 2015, 2016. 2015, I think we were having a real we were struggling because they just lost the final in 2014 to Waratahs, and then the following year, we just had a run of injuries, and we weren't playing well consistently. And then at the time, I just obviously for myself, I was only just starting to grow my faith as well, and just reached out to a couple of players who I kind of knew went to church or used to go to church, and it's like, oh man, should we pray over our team and just see where they can take us, and then, and so just started in the morning, first thing in the morning before anyone turned up, we just pray over our team and over our training facilities and all that, and obviously I left that following year, but then to see it carry on was pretty special, man. It was pretty cool, and I was just grateful to be a part of that, and
cool.
yes,
Still going,
going to this day, and that's why I must admit I have a lot of time for Jack Goodhue, and always acknowledge that he's probably my favourite centre.
Big reps.
Obviously a little bit biased, but man, he's a good man. And obviously unfortunate with some of the injuries, but
fingers crossed.
No doubt, he's been able to stand firm in who he is again as well, and what he believes in. He'll do well off the back of it.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, man. So it's cool. And man, ever since the 2014 when I went to the Chiefs, because that's kind of where I was encouraged by it.
Oh yeah.
Like or like in terms of involving it into my team.
Yeah.
So I'd always been 2000. Obviously, when I met the Crusaders, they always knew me as the guy that would go to church on Sunday.
Yeah.
But it never really reflected the rest of their week. I was obviously one of those guys that would say, "Oh yeah, I go to church on Sunday," but none of the words were sinking in.
Yeah, right.
And then it wasn't until 2012 or 2011, that a Doc Martin Swan came on as doctor for our team, and kind of just started poking at me and going, "Are you reading it just for your own benefits, or are you reading it to be genuine about it?" And so that's where I started growing my faith, and then went to the Chiefs, and a couple of the boys messaged me and go, "Oh, bro, come just catch up before the game." And I rock up and we're just having a prayer session.
Yeah.
I was like, "Oh man, this is real cool." Like, I this is what I used to do when I was at school.
Yeah.
Like, pray before the games and there, and so that's why I tried to what's it called? Encourage it here in the Crusaders, and got a little bit of a roll on, but then it wasn't until I left that the group of boys that started becoming the leaders of the team, the Richie Mahomes, Jordan Tafuas, Jimmy Tupou at the time, Andrew McAleal, and then Digby Wainer was around at the time as well, and then Money, and that's kind of when that started flowing, and then Jack Goody obviously, and he's gone on to carry it on, so it's pretty cool, man.
Digby's awesome, eh? I met Digby in town one night.
Oh, yeah.
No, like he was on his way out of the bar, and he didn't have to like come over and talk to me. I shook his hand, and he had a big yarn, like sat there and yarned for me for 10 minutes. Awesome. I was real like buzzed from it. I was like, that's awesome. So that's cool, what a cool guy. For me, it's got here. There was a Japan offer that fell through.
Oh man, I must admit, man, that's probably part of the reason why I want to look into coaching, a little bit more seriously.
Yeah, 100%.
To try and see if coaching can take me to Japan. Seems to be that still a little bit of like a void that hasn't been filled. Not being able to go. At the time, I was kind of obviously in between conversations with Hawke's Bay and Japan, because. I didn't know whether I was going to stick around New Zealand. That's kind of weird.
Were you in the UK at this point?
No.
Oh, you're back here.
I think it was about 2000 and... Oh, it was pretty much 2014. Yeah. I kind of realised I probably wasn't going to make the All Blacks. Had a run of injuries. Just come off the back of another heart surgery in 2015.
Yeah.
And so I was like, it's probably time to start looking overseas. I'll try and stay a little bit close just to see if there's still hope to make the All Blacks. But yeah, so signed on with the Toyota Shockey, but it was a temporary contract to once I got over there I was going to sign the full one. So signed it, but then it was like the following week or so. I injured my knee, and oh man, an even buzzy story about that. Obviously, did my ACL, and then did a scan straight after the game, and they were pretty much, it's gone. There's no ACL, can't see it. But like I was like, I swear, and I was like, man, it's still a little bit swollen, and because one of Jim's friends is a physio, and like, obviously. Knows quite a bit about swelling and all that kind of stuff. Yeah. So she taught us about that, and I was like, and I asked the doctor, I was like, can we do another scan in like 2 weeks time, just to see if the swelling's come down and see what's going on. But then she was just like, if it's ruptured, it's ruptured. You won't be able to, there won't be any difference in the scan. So I was just like, okay. So I went on the waiting list to go and get surgery, and then pretty much. Got into surgery, and
you actually got there.
Yeah, so I went into surgery and everything.
Wow.
Doctor was like, we're gonna obviously open take a little bit out of your quad, use it as a new tendon for
graft, yep.
Graft for your ACL, and you should be about 3 hours and should be good to go. And so I was going in at about I think I was going in about 3:30, and so I was like, okay, I'm anticipating waking up at night time.
Yeah.
So then, like 30 minutes later, so I'm obviously I'm in surgery, and then 30 minutes later, I'm like waking up. I was like, is it the next day? Is it that long? And they're like, and then the doc comes in. He's like, no, I was only took us 30 minutes. There was still 75% of your ACL still intact. Yeah. So I signed a waiver to say, I'm not going to come. Obviously, it'd be unfair on you as a club to pay me if I'm injured. And so pretty much signed it like I think a couple of weeks before.
Yeah, and they already replaced you.
They'd already replaced me at the time. And then so 30 minutes later, 75% still intact. And I was just like, and I think I went home that day. I think I might have even, or like I might have went the next day. And I was just like, oh man. Yeah. And so obviously I was a little bit gutted that I wasn't able to go to Japan. And I must admit, like, Japan was gonna set me up. Quite comfortably financially. Like it was gonna clear all our mortgage and or like the mortgage like that I bought my parents' house for. And it just meant I didn't have to worry about any mortgage or anything. But so obviously a little bit gutted. But then I also, from what I hear of other players, that Japan is just such a good time. When the Japanese see that you invest yourself into their culture and take the time to learn the language, they respect you a lot more and hold on to you for a lot longer. So it would be nice to be able to get over there as a coaching gig.
It's definitely on our list.
But we'll see what happens. There was Japan. And then off the back of that, that's when I went to Hawke's Bay. I spent 6 weeks rehabbing, and then played for Hawke's Bay that same year. So man, almost would have been playing in Japan. But
Still got that pretty mean experience. Okay, so 2018 and retirement. So you're 29 at that point. Must have been obviously pretty tough. What was actually made it cool? What changed?
Obviously the doctors talking to me about obviously that's probably we're probably gonna have to do another surgery. But then we always knew going over there at the time that whatever happens, if I have to have another surgery, that was going to be the end of my career. But it wasn't until I called my dad after our hospital visit from the UK, and I called him up and I was like, doctors are pretty much saying that it's time to have another surgery, and obviously we know that this is the last surgery. And I think just hearing my dad kind of go, obviously there's more to life than just rugby. Because for so long he'd been, really hounding me to really train hard, to really focus on my rugby, and then leave everything else around you, and just keep focusing on rugby. And for so long we'd spent so much time together bonding over rugby, and then for him to just go, look, you've got a young family now. Rugby was never gonna be there for the rest of your life. But you made the most of it, and if it's time to stop, then stop putting yourself through all that pain just to carry on playing. And so hearing him kind of close that book, close it. Was kind of.
Made it a bit easier.
Exactly. And I was just like, okay, it's time to stop. Stop chasing the dream and just focus on a different stage of life. So man. So and at the time, obviously, Farrell was only a couple of months old. And man, it was crazy. So there was that was quite a hard core to listen to. But to hear it come from my dad, I was just like, it's time to move on. So, and then off the back of that, I think I had like a month of like just drowning my sorrows in the gym. And I swear I put on 5 kgs in the space of that time. I was like, man, this is not good. It was just 5 kgs of like just doing, like I wake up because I was still in routine.
Your body needs that, 100%.
Lifting tin, and I was like, I don't need to do fitness anymore. I just go and do weights. Oh man, I had to pull back on that. It was growing too fast.
Another thing that's happened during your career is you were in so much form in New Zealand that I remember watching your reunions and with Tony Johnson, they were saying, the All Blacks for you. Like, did you, obviously media was not as big as it is today, but were you hearing a bit of that noise?
100%. Like I heard it obviously through social media and things like that at the time. When it was only just really Facebook. But one of my most fond memories of that was all my family had just come down for one of my games and my birthday, I think, at the time as well. And so they came down to celebrate my birthday, but then come and watch me play that weekend as well. But then that same weekend, like the next day, they were naming the All Black squad for the World Cup.
Oh wow!
And so everyone was telling them, like, telling my family, they're like, oh, he's guaranteed. And so we were all just like in the lounge, and I just like I couldn't wait around to listen. And so I just went upstairs and just chilled out whilst my whole family was just watching, waiting to hear. And then obviously once they passed the letter F and
they did it scores,
just got a message straight away from my sisters going, you're right. It's always next year. But I was like, so I was a little bit gutted about that.
100%.
Oh man, the noise it wasn't just noise, it was it was well and truly deserved, to be honest, in so my eyes anyway, if that means.
The same year the same year before that they announced the squad, obviously they were talking to the group of players that they were looking at. And unfortunately that was one of them. And I remember they organised meetings, and so like I said, 13 of the 15 guys in the starting lineup were the All Blacks. And so, and my name was part of the All Blacks potentials. And so all these All Blacks had their meetings, and then my name's in there somewhere. And so I go in for my meeting. But man, it was one of the most daunting times.
What was that? Who was it with?
So, I remember vividly. It was Wayne Smith at the table in front of the TV. Graham Henry was at the back on one of the little wee steps in one of the conference room. And then Steve Hansen was on my left, on just a chair in the corner. So I was just, like I said, I remember, like I thought, I'll just go and be myself, smile, and they'll be able to feed off my vibe.
They were the big real luck.
But they were just like, they were just straight black and white, man. And I was just like sitting down, and then straight away, Graham Henry was just like, all right, you do some really good stuff off the field. And then Wayne Smith kind of steps in and is like, but watch this. And then like, this was like 10 seconds into the game. He was just like, there was just a video just following me the whole time.
Really?
So I was just like, I didn't even know that was going on. And I was like, watch this. First 10 seconds of the game, you're just walking. Like, you know, obviously you need to pick up on that. And then obviously some of the things around kick chase. And then obviously, what's it called? A few things around defensively, my positioning that they highlights it. But then, so obviously that was quite a daunting first 5 to 10 minutes of the meeting, and then all of a sudden, Wayne Smith's like, "But you do some really amazing stuff. Watch this."
Nice.
And he goes, and he asked Wayne Smith, Steve Hansen. He was like, "Hey, Steve Hansen." He's like, "Oh yeah, mate, you're selfless. You run those lines that nobody likes to run, obviously like decoy lines and things like that. So you're really good at that. And yeah, that was all I got from the meeting, man. I was like, okay.
Yeah.
But like, oh man, like I said, once I got in there and I was smiling, and then straight away when they started showing me, my smile went. My smile disappeared real fast. So I kind of had a feeling that it was gonna be a big ask for me to make the All Blacks, because I knew that Conrad Smith and Martin Onu were dead set.
Yeah, for sure.
And then there's
Sonny Williams was kind of. I always knew that he was gonna make it. Just like
utility value.
Yeah, and not just that, and not off the back of like the fact that they brought him here to New Zealand to play for the All Blacks.
Who else was there? Richard Kahui was there as well.
Kahui.
He ended up playing on the wing.
Yeah, he did. But he was the one that kind of, I think it might have been out of me, him, and Toyaba that they were kind of.
Yeah.
Oh, Toyaba still went, didn't he?
Yeah, so Toyaba ended up was always in, and then Kahui was coming off the back of an injury.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah.
And then he went in.
He played in South Africa. He played in played centre in South Africa and played very well. Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
And so that formed their midfield that they were happy with. So, man, it was. I knew it was going to be a big ask, and obviously off the back of what they showed me, they were wanting centres similar to the Conrad Smiths that were just selfless and the stuff that they were doing off the ball.
Yeah.
And not just on the ball. So yeah, it was. Oh man, it was a big challenge. I must admit. But I think I enjoyed. I really enjoyed playing centre in that era.
Yeah.
Playing some of the best
some
centres
good players around there.
You always had to be cautious of Kahui because he was a hitman.
Yeah. Oh, he was epic on defence. Yeah.
You just knew you had to be on your game against Conrad Smith because he very rarely made a mistake.
Yeah, he was.
And then very rarely missed a tackle.
Yeah.
And then obviously Martin Onu, he could kick, he could run, he could tackle.
By the end of his career, he was doing everything, didn't he? Yeah.
And then obviously I was playing along Sunnyville, so I was like, oh, could this be my green card into like getting into the All Blacks? They see us as a good enough pair. Yeah.
That was a lethal combo. Man. Oh.
So man, I must admit, I was a little bit relying on that. As my wild card, but obviously just wasn't meant to be. But
did they ever say anything about like did they have a concern about your heart or like the fitness or anything? That never came into it.
I think, like I said, if anything, it was just more. Like they saw me walking on the field. It's only 10 seconds in the game. Where you should be enthusiastically going for it. And so, playing throughout my career, I started learning things that I needed to do to be able to be effective in things. When it came to the time. And I must admit, I appreciated. There was a couple of years with the Crusaders where they knew I wasn't going to be doing it for a full 80 minutes, so they started training me differently. I started doing a lot more sprints. For longer periods of time. So 20 minutes, 30 minutes. They went on to be 30 minutes. And they went on to be 40 minutes sessions. So they started building up my anaerobic capacity, and so I think that's kind of when you started to see some of that come through in some of the games that I was playing in. So it was. But by then it was probably a little too late. But man.
Nice.
Thanks for sharing that. That's awesome. That's great. That's great.
It was pretty. I like to share it because I like to encourage the kids that like sometimes it's just a case of an opinion.
100%.
One's opinion. I might have been someone else's cup of tea.
100%.
Wasn't to be with the three wise men.
Look, and following on from that, who would you say was your most influential coach that got the best out of you?
Tabai Matson, man. Hands down.
Did you go? He was at Bath too, eh?
Yeah. So he was the one that said, look, I've heard that the Crusaders probably aren't looking at you. They're favouring. At the time, they were favouring Geordie Barrett.
Oh,
that's when Geordie Barrett was like hot commodity. Whether it was Crusaders or whether it was the Hurricanes. obviously went on to choose the Hurricanes.
Yeah, 18-year-old Jordy Barrett. Getting
Phenomenal.
Yeah.
And then Tabo was like, look, we'll find you a space at Bath, come with us.
Yeah.
And so, I was fortunate enough to be able to go over. And, obviously, again, I'd hoped that I'd be able to repay him through playing well for Bath, but again, that was short-lived as well through injury. But he was probably my most influential in terms of just the time that he took to invest in me, not only on the field but off the field. When I went over to Bath, he opened his doors to us, and he was like, "Oh, come and stay with us till you guys find a place, or till we find a place for you." So you stay with him, and that's kind of where Jim got put off by me becoming a coach. Because
taking people.
No, because he would be gone by 6 o'clock in the morning. And he wouldn't get home till like 8, 9 o'clock at night. But he was living next door to the site, and at the time his family weren't there. So he was able to spend the time. But she was like, players are almost like a 9 to 5 job compared to a coach who's 24 hours.
Absolutely,
So I think if I do score a coaching gig, it has to be for a lot of financial freedom to be able to get it to say yes. So Tabo Madsen, probably my biggest influence as a coach, and then like I said, for the short amount of time that I spent with Wayne Smith at the Chiefs, just his knowledge on the game was just insane, and just how he was able to critique my tackling technique to be able to make it a bit more effective was pretty special, and I was fortunate enough to be able to show that in our first game against the Crusaders down here. Against the Chiefs. So that was quite cool.
Nice, yeah,
man.
Nice.
You've moved back into coaching yourself now. What made you want to get back into that rugby environment and start coaching?
I think I enjoyed the element of being amongst the team, but I always had aspirations to be able to give back to a community very similar to Pororoa. Obviously, if I was in Pororoa, I'd probably be doing it in Pororoa, but now that I'm living down here, I always had my eyes on areas like Aranui and Linwood, but then through just the natural connections I had with Hamilton High School, I just thought, as a community that's very similar to mine, and I know that kids don't get a lot of opportunities to get some sort of high level coaching or high level knowledge, professional ex-players coming in coaching them. So I just thought I'll reach out, see what comes of it, and all of a sudden, somehow, which I don't think I am now, but it was almost like director. I was like, that's a big title.
Look good on the CV.
But so back into coaching now, and man, I have a lot of respect for coaches, man. I'm like the type of person, the kid that I was, like I wasn't as bad, I was just like not listening or like talking during training, or the coach was trying to explain something, and like little things like that, where I was like being a rat bag. And I still remember to this day when it switched for me. It was when I went to Iran's camp.
Palmy.
In Palmy. And the coach at the time, I think his name's John Doe or John Rose.
I think I remember him.
Like same thing. I was like talking to some of the boys, joking around, and then he gave it to me. And I was just like, all right, that's it for me. No more. And so since then, man, like just try to be obviously respectful of coaches, but being in coaching now and just trying to encourage like kids that you can see have it, but just don't have never really had the chance to how would you say it, like to get any more high level coaching, just because there's nobody that chooses to invest other than local parents that have a passion for these kids to be able to go on and do a lot more with their life. So that was a big thing for me, was making sure that when I go to coach a team, that it's not only investing in their rugby ability, but trying to develop them enough to get opportunities and see the world, because it's done amazing things for myself
100%.
as a person.
Yeah.
I'm always grateful for rugby and for taking me around the world. So
Nice.
yeah, man.
So life after rugby. Fast forward now. Amazing wee family. Lovely wife Jem and 3 beautiful not babies anymore. You got 1 wee baby.
Yeah.
And 2 girls.
Yeah.
An amazing neighbour.
Bitch.
And you're building. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh,
How's
man,
that going?
building. Yeah, good.
How long have you been doing that now?
About 4.5 years,
Oh,
5
wow.
years now.
Jeez.
Yeah.
Basically, when you moved in there, is that when you started? Basically.
Or yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
Pretty much did. I always enjoyed the idea of building, building your own home. And yeah, for myself, I grew up in a family where studies came first, and homework and university was the key to getting a good job. But I was always doing things with my hands, like trying to reinvent go-karts that we found in those rubbish days.
Yeah.
On the side of the road, took one up and tried to turn it into a go-kart that would work. So I was always doing things with my hands, and building, like I said, was I was always a little bit interested in. But I remember one time catching a ride with Wyatt Crockett to, I think it might have been Bottle Lake Forest, and then he questioned me. He was like, "Oh, so what do you want to do after rugby? Or have you got any interest outside of rugby?" I was like, "Oh, I wouldn't mind having a look at building." And he was like, "Mate, I've been doing building, and the last thing you want to do after thrashing your body for 10 years is thrash your body thrash your body some more doing building." So, mate, think of something else. So it was always there, but it wasn't until I finished that I was just like, oh man, just give it a crack. I haven't got a lot else on the plate. And
did the Crusaders have that pathway stuff back then?
They did, but I never utilised it properly.
Right.
And I never made the most of it. I tried to do a bit of study here and there. I did a little bit with youth work.
You were doing youth work,
Yeah, and then so instead of studying, I actually reached out to a friend of mine and asked if this was when I was injured, and asked if I could just go in and see whether youth works for me. Yeah, and we spent a bit of time at TK Dub. Yeah. Teorco,
yeah. Vicky and Salah.
Salah. So I spent a bit of time there, and I enjoyed it. But I think it was it's a full-time commitment. It's not just a part-time, because those kids that go to the education school, they want consistency. And so turning up once a week,
come and go.
is okay. You build good friendships, but it's not long-term sustaining. But then. And I always knew I wanted to work with youth, and so I think that's kind of just how I naturally, I just used what I'm good at, which is rugby. Yeah. And just trying to pass that knowledge on to kids who very rarely get it. So that's awesome. How I've come to do coaching. So cool. Yeah, man. So, but yeah, building. I enjoy it. Yeah. But I think it's because I've been on a big project. Yeah.
Same project for ages now. Yeah.
Come November, it'll be 3 years.
Wow.
I don't want to say numbers because it's a big house. But it's a big house, and somebody close to obviously the family. But I think I found it because it was like, so I went from doing no foundations to almost doing the equivalent of 4 or 5 foundations in one house. So it was like so I went from like real slow growth and building to just rapid. And so I still find myself trying to be the perfectionist, like you're being watched on TV.
You have to get on it. Izzy Dag's show. What's that?
Man.
Renovation.
Because I know the builders that built his house.
Oh yeah.
I was like, mate, you must have been a really good building coach. Because man, you one day on site and he's all of a sudden starting a show.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I enjoy it, and hopefully one day can go on to build a family home.
Yeah.
And then set the kids up, for home and that. So I guess that's the goal now, is to try and set them up so that when all said and done, they're at least somewhat supported financially and can go on to give to their kids and that.
Nice.
Yeah, man.
This is a goodie.
Yeah, this is a goodie.
This today.
Yeah, this is a real goodie. So the listeners may or might not know, but you're actually part of a group that has a New Zealand top 40 single.
Oh. Would you call it a boy band or
yeah,
a boy band or is it?
Musical pioneers, the Sea City Brothers. Andy Ellis, Israel Dag, Willie Hines, Talusa Vienu, and Robbie Fruean. Talk us through it.
Oh man, how good! I don't even know why that came to be, man.
Was it earthquake related? Wasn't it? After the earthquake?
Yeah, it was a fundraiser.
Do you know what it was? So you guys know that Dan Carter was a bit of a DJ.
Yeah.
He got given a beat or like a tune. And I think it was from like a real high-profile DJ in New Zealand.
Yeah.
Probably would have been. He's good, close with Shapeshifter, eh?
Oh yeah, either him or there's actually a DJ that made the beat and was like, "Oh, doing nothing with it, you can have it."
Oh yeah.
And then the boys were like, "Oh, mate, should we make a song?"
Was it Alice that started it?
Yeah. And so
he like the driver. Right?
So he went off the back of it. He was like, "Actually, let's go next level and like really put this on the charts, and any funding that comes from it goes back to a charity that we chose at the time." So man, far out. I must admit.
Hadn't you just had your op as well?
Around I did. So when we were doing the music video,
yeah.
I was frail and
you look. I saw the video today. I was like, man, you look real small then.
Oh man, I must have. I do like every now and then, like whenever I'm talking to musos and they're like, hey man,
you're
the right guy.
I'm on the charts. Oh, that is awesome.
Because I think we were number one.
Yeah, it was.
iTunes for. I think it must have been for ages.
Yeah.
And I must admit, years later, I retired, came back to Christchurch, and me and my sister started doing a bit of morning training.
Oh yeah.
And we jumped on the bikes just as a bit of a warm up. And then all you hear is, "You know I love you forever." And me and my sister just looked at each other and lost it. Like, they're still playing this. Oh my god.
That is so good.
Turn it off.
Dom's probably too young to know it.
Yeah, look that up, Dom. Look that up.
That's it, man. You'll be put off. You'll be like, what was that?
Tune. Absolute tune.
I think Jim had a part to wrote a bit of those lyrics.
Did she?
The lyrics were good.
Classic.
Well written.
Man, number one.
We didn't have that on the list, did we, at the start?
No, we didn't. We did not have it. Saved the best for last. So now we're slowly wrapping up. We've just got a couple of, I went to Instagram. I think Dan's got a couple too. A few questions. So this one's from Marshall Johnson. He's asked, what was the best part about playing for the Crusaders?
Best parts? Man, the best part was, what's it called? Like I said, that my name was amongst some of the most well-known All Blacks at the time. So walking into the changing rooms for the first time ever, you saw Richie McCaw sitting there, Dan Carter, you're like, far out, I'm playing with these guys, oh good. Playing amongst some athletes, some unreal players, was pretty special.
That's good. This one's from Ben Campbell. How did you adjust the changing of teams and franchises as you move around?
I think I just like a new kid at school, just get my head down and just try to let my work ethic do the talking, you know, and off the back of that, try and gain respect through hard work and you know, I was fortunate to be able to pay off at the Chiefs and yeah, it was I guess just keeping my head down until it got comfortable, and then, you know, let those number one tunes come out.
Speaking of tunes, this question's from Ethan Taylor. If you were to duet a song at karaoke, what would it be?
Oh man,
he's got a guess, hasn't he? Really?
He's guessed.
Guess one.
I'll tell you. I'll let you answer, and then I'll tell you what Ethan's put down here.
Oh, that I think it must be a Marvin Gaye song.
If it's probably that one that we're thinking of, but it's not Marvin Gaye. It sounds similar.
It sounds very similar.
Oh yeah.
Ethan's put down here, "Shake You Down," Gregory Abbott.
Oh no. You know that one?
Never heard of it.
Oh.
That's what I saw, man.
He's lying. He's
I
lying.
reckon you would have liked it.
Oh
I
yeah.
heard it.
Yeah. Oh no, that's good.
Oh, funny.
Well, there's.
He stitched you up there.
He stitched me up. Go tell him off at work.
Oh.
So just before I leave you with Dan to wrap up with the outro, we've got quick fire general trivia, 5 in the bin.
This is rough at 10 p.m.
This is very rough.
Wow,
it's been grilled for 2 hours.
Yeah. Anyway, good luck to you. So we'll do this with all our guests, hopefully.
Awesome.
So, first question: in which country was the Michelin Tire Company founded in?
Oh man.
Ooh.
Man, I want to say. Man, I can say Japan. Japan, no.
Is that your final answer?
Yeah.
That is incorrect. The correct answer is France.
Oh, true. I
was thinking America.
I thought the tire. Because Michelin is it?
Yeah, it's the big rubber.
It's a Michelin man.
The Bobby guy.
Yeah.
I had more lines with Japan.
Yeah.
It's a great guess, to be fair. Question number 2. What does the abbreviation HTML stand for?
Brutal.
HTML.
Oh, I have no idea what that means.
That's a website?
Yeah.
HTML.
If you get this, I'll be impressed.
I'll be impressed too. Dominic, do you know?
Tech guy, you got to know.
Surely.
Actually, nah.
Yeah.
It's a code language. Use it for web design.
HTML.
It's hypertext markup language.
Yeah.
Right, this one's slightly simpler. Question number 3. What 2 fruit juices make up a cosmopolitan?
Orange juice? Oh no.
I don't actually know this either.
Pineapple juice and strawberry juice?
No. Cranberry and lime.
I knew it was red, but
Yeah.
Question number 4. 0 from 3. Just to let you know. Heineken beer originated in which country?
oh man.
That's not what I thought.
Germany.
No. Close
You're
though.
about 2 away.
The correct answer is the Netherlands.
Netherlands.
I thought it was what's next door to them?
Not Poland.
Belgium. I thought it was Belgium.
Right.
I'm probably.
Question number 5. 0 from 4. To get on the board.
Go on.
In 1968, what became a required part of the automobile safety equipment in the USA?
Seatbelts.
Yes! He's on the...
You know what I know?
Yes, you actually did. There was no hesitation there. Go on. Hit me with it.
My father-in-law seatbelt sales as well.
Oh, there you
Shout out to
go.
Doug Flynn. Seatbelt sales.
That is unreal. With no hesitation whatsoever. Probably the hardest worded question.
Because I think they started creeping into New Zealand as well, wasn't it?
Oh,
I reckon it would
you'd
have been late
say
for us.
Yeah, it was a little bit later.
Because we might have had seatbelts, but no one wore them until that.
That's alright. You're on the board.
That's when it came in.
Yeah.
You are on the board.
Nice.
Yeah.
All right.
Wow.
We've
Seatbelts.
got to wrap. It's almost 10 p.m. We've done well.
I'm glad I knew that, man. He's gonna be proud.
Proud of you, son. Mate. So thanks so much for your time. It's been awesome hearing all this stuff. Like, we've probably known each other for 4 or 5 years, and I've had a few chats at the mailbox, but I've learnt so much from you and from the other guys that have shared their knowledge and their insights, and just sharing how you got through some of those ups and downs, and just sharing your story. So we just massively appreciate it. And first podcast for Robbie.
Yeah, first guest,
and
thank you very much.
Yeah, the Robbie Fruean exclusive, mate. Thank you so much.
Thank you
so much.
Awesome.
Thanks for listening to the Evolve Your Game podcast. Hope you've taken some insight and enjoyed what we had to offer today. Make sure you like and subscribe and share on your socials. Tag us. We would like to see who's listening. And we'll catch you back next week on the Evolve Your Game podcast.